Greetings and welcome to let's have a look at Mk50 TWL Vehicle Battle Custom Slider. Now I realize it may sound like I hit my head on the keyboard as I announced the title of this game, but that is the title, and I really wish the developer picked a slightly more conventional name that is easier to remember, because I have a feeling that this will not be very easy to find on the Steam store. Nevertheless, there will be a link in the description. The game has a demo, so you can try it out for yourself, but get into what this game is. This game is a bit hard to describe, but essentially, this is a vehicle battler simulator, kinda, draped over a 4X sci-fi space strategy game. A turn-based space strategy game, although the battles themselves are real-time. So real-time text. Now, that all sounds very complicated. This is not that complicated, but there are some things in this game that are definitely unpolished. Now, fair enough, the game is not yet out, as you can see. Version number is still below 1. So there is still a chance for things to change, but I'm afraid that it's gone quite a ways through development that certain things will just not be able to be cleaned up. Like, for instance, the options menu, which is, right, this is kind of a mess with the 3 categories of miscellaneous, performance, camera, all on a single screen. All you can do really is just save. I had to disable the music because there is some, well, it's not exactly it's not exactly licensed music, but it is it does require attribution to the artist, and I don't know who the artist is, so I can't give attribution. But yeah, basically we can decide whether or not to use imperial measurements, I guess, which is somehow indicated by miles. We can enable or disable sound, which, okay. There's only one slider for graphics and effects, which I feel is kind of very minimal, but fair enough. And then some other things where you can change for the performance of the game. Although I have, on my system at least, the game runs fine, so I've not really noticed any for pushing performance levels or anything. And then there's the camera control, camera stuff, which is also fine, but not really all that impressive. That's also the keybinds thing. This one is, well, it's not easy on the eyes, but it serves its purpose. And the problem that the keybinds thing here is only available on the main menu here, where we are, which is, it's less than convenient, put it that way. Because, yeah, well, I mean, the keybinds are kind of explained in the tutorial here, which I will not be showcasing because it's long and not very fun. The tutorial as it is functional, and that's really all I can say. It explains how camera motions work, how you give orders, how you can find information, and how time controls work when you're in battle. That's pretty much it. It does this in a very dry, read a text and a click mode. It's functional, like I said, not really important, by the way. Let me just show you how the game actually looks. New campaign. So we're just gonna allow all maps. This is all normal. Enemies have nukes after 2 years. We're not going to be playing for 2 years, so that's fine. We can choose our origins. There's a lot to pick from. I don't know what any of these do, but I suspect it has to do with what you will have, as it is explained here. but we will be starting roster is just a balanced planetary now. Initial construction on the planet, the tactical ops HQ. And we'll just leave the setting to easy. You can have a variety of galaxies to play around with. Faction name will be playing. The tech level we have as it is. Basically before 20th century. And starting roster by search. Well, this is the standard thing what the game starts with, so I'm presuming that the developer intends this to be the desired intended playthrough. So just leave that be. Start it up. So here we are in the galaxy. Spiral galaxy. From the edge of one of the outer arms, it appears. Some planets nearby. For now, that is all of no consequence to us, because this particular start, it's probably better for you if you just stick to your base planet. We have the faction HQ. If we use that, game over for us. And of course, the tactical and covert ops headquarters. This planet will support 3 more buildings that we can order up. As it is, the planet itself does not have any deposits. It does have a neutral town, which we can eventually annex. I do so, but for now, there is no point to do that. So for this point, we'll just take the geosurvey group, which will allow us to get the exploration up to 100%, which might discover deposits. And would like the active sensors. Just go to technology over here and just activate that. The technology screen is kind of messy. These tiers could probably be sorted better. There's also no prerequisites that I know of. So as long as you have the research points, I think you can pretty much pick whatever you like. I think, although it seems there might be some. Because I can only highlight the ones here at the front, not the ones in the back here. Yeah, this is not very clean. Definitely feels like there's a slight misalignment on some of the levels. Could have another look at it. Either way, not really important there. So now we have the thing, so we can get the exploration dropship spaceport. It allows us to explore nearby planets. And then I can pick something else. I just take construction companies. So as long as we want them. Let us push time forward so we get to the new era. After decades of strife and conflict, the galaxy is slowly recovering. Empires were lost, fractured. Mega corporations and independent factions are prevalent, raiders and deserters of old wars, roaming freely seeking. Many technologies were forgotten. Your faction is one of many who rose from the ashes. The future is uncertain. So it kind of feels like a start for, like in Shadow Empire. Admittedly, using one obscure game to explain another is not really going to help. But yeah, there's not really any overall goal in the game, I think, other than just, conquest, starting a new empire. But like nearby planet over here requires some amount of influence and money to colonize. Has some colonial infrastructure, so that would be. Apparently, there's an independent refinery here, and the planet has a lot of minerals, both on the planet and in orbit. So there's some alien artifacts. So this would not be a bad planet to take, but would we hold it? Points. I don't know. Anyway, let us push date further forward. I think we have to wait. Let's go just get to the next month. There. So that's the start of the first month. Everything is over. We get some research points, we get some influence, get some tactical. And now this is still not popular. Guess we need a little bit more time. Yeah, I can't really do much, but anyway, let's just move on. Here is our battle group, essentially, our army. Currently stationed at our main planet. We could move it to another planet if we wished, but I don't, so cancel it, please. But essentially, this is just a bunch of vehicles, pretty much as you would see them today. Main battle tanks, recon tanks, radar planes, and howitzer emplacements. See what type of units these are. Some of these have technologies that would be being that place us a little bit outside of what we can use. Like, I think external armor is a technology we have to rediscover. But because we already have it in these tanks, we can put more of them. So we will. Here is the tank. Question. And it does that. Now, don't worry, it's not actually going to go floating off like that. But basically, if we wanted to edit a vehicle while we're in the mission, it brings us to this little tile. Looks like, I guess this is the surface of an asteroid or something. Essentially, the game assumes that we are building a unit in space. We are not. It doesn't really matter. Just means we can't do certain things. Anyway, what I want is to buy a couple more. Let's get 15. That's about 40,000 monies. That's coming in. And as you can see, we have at least 14 days before they arrive. Could order other units, but for now this is fine. Now here we have the trade screen where we can turn any resource we have into money or buy stuff from the market if it's available. There's a limited amount of money available for trading and amount of goods that we can import. Can't just infinitely spend and exchange money. That's fair enough. This interface works fine. This is the planet, essentially the Empire overview. If we had more planets, they would be showing up top of here. We'd flip between them. We do not have any more planets, although I could just showcase. I could if I had money, but I don't. We'll see about that next time. Here's another way to get to the research screen. Currently, we do not have enough research, so there's no point in doing that. Then we have the Empire Management. Also includes the save and load buttons for loading and saving the game. These are inconvenient delays in my opinion, and I think the save game management should be a totally separate menu at all. Because showcase the buttons up here. They don't showcase what they mean if you hover over them, but essentially this just lets us get back to the main menu. Options screen that I showcased before. Tactics when we're in a mission, which you can apply to your vehicles. And essentially making a new vehicle from scratch, which you can do at any point in time in the game. And we'll get to that, but for now, I kind of wanted to want to showcase a mission in game. Anyway, back to the Empire Management. A couple of innovations that we can purchase if we have enough research points. Now, we'll just leave these be. Similarly, we have some reforms we can enact if we have enough influence. Currently, do not. We can change our laws if we have enough influence to do stuff. Most of these speak for themselves. Currently, we have just a small little system out in the middle of nowhere. Overall stats of the Empire. Not entirely sure why it's laid out like this. And none of these figures really mean that much to me. I mean, the speed rates at the percentages, those make sense. What does a vehicle production rate of 50 mean? What does a repair rate of 200 mean? I don't know. And it's not really explained what these numbers mean. I get higher number is better. I don't know. Then we have the diplomacy. Now, mostly people hate us, are indifferent to us. We have only one group that likes us, the Unitech Corporation. The rest are kinda meh about us, but they will at least not attack us. The space pirates and the water pirates will. So we'll have to prepare for that. And the aliens, which are really undefined, are also hostile to us. I don't know exactly where they are, so it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, the aliens will be a very strong threat, especially at the start, because they will have technology that I don't have access to just yet. We can also change our budget a little bit, so if we really wanted more money, I could loan some. But I don't. And if we had nanotechnology, nanotech, we could turn it into civilian goods or components, as to our needs require. Then we have the threat assessment and evaluation boards, essentially, where we spend our tactical stuff. Let's just set it up to half-ish, and hope that we get enough warning about any incoming raid. Just push the date time forward a little. Tanks have been delivered. Still have no missions. To wait until intel happens. Started construction starting to finish, and we get some exploration of nearby systems. The exploration dropship spaceport can essentially explore any nearby planets up to 75%, with the last 25% needs to be done by the geosurvey group. Once that is done, once this group is done, it will automatically be disassembled. Fine. Right, so now we can choose to colonize this place. No, let's do that. It will eat up all my money, but why not? Finally, we have missions. Okay. I would like to mark our HQ. What is our HQ again? Nightfall. So, any space mission I cannot do because I do not have any space vehicles. We have the Alliance of Republics. And that should be a relatively, I think. And a system body near Nightfall. Ocean, no land. Okay, I don't have any boats, so this one I also cannot do at the moment. I'll just indulge in this mission. Okay, so we're on the small island, Operation Mogul. If we do this mission, we get a bonus with titanium neck base, so we become friendly. Gather some intelligence. Okay, so it doesn't look like the enemy has all that much. Don't know about their vehicles necessarily. Okay, it looks like might have a slight problem with the speedboats, but overall the enemy is kinda underwhelming here. I could also resolve this, but I kinda want to showcase everything. Let's deploy buildings just to be safe. That should give us more than enough firepower because it also gives us the howitzer emplacement. Let's load into the battle. overall battle load relatively quick. This is not the most ideal battle I wanted to do, because I kind of wanted to just focus on land, but here we are. We have spawned on the island. Unfortunately, two of our main battle tanks have decided they are boats. Yeah, there is some slight problems with unit placement. For some reason, it always deploys in this big circle with one unit in the middle. Why it does this, I don't know. I don't think even the game knows why, but that's fine. So I've not accidentally paused the game, I've just slowed it down really, really much. Because this is the default interface. This tells me absolutely nothing. Now I can get some more information by pressing the tab button a couple of times. So we need to send units to search this zone. We can do that. If I've got a couple of main battle tanks placed all around, they can go over there. Switch over to tiny formations, go in an echelon form. Let's also stay where you are. And let's bring the speed back up to 3 times speed. Here we have the enemy. Now you have to zoom in ridiculously close in order to see what's happening. Enemy has some aircraft. They're not particularly strong aircraft, but my vehicles are not specifically designed to deal with aircraft, so it's gonna be a bit tricky to deal with them. We have some main battle tanks over here. But they're of an inferior quality to mine, so overall I think we're good. Get the recon over to the search zone. I think we've pretty much dealt with all the recon tanks are kind of nippy, but also kind of prone to just, you know, falling over and doing that. Because the pathfinding is horrendous. My vehicle's in the search zone, we should be good. Now, there should also be some boats on the water. If at all possible, I would prefer to not have to fight that. But yeah. For some reason, the recon tank decided it wanted to go Lion's back. I don't know why it's chosen to do this, but it has. I don't know how you can prevent that. For some reason, the physics in this game just love rolling vehicles. But hey, it completes the mission, and I don't think anything was particularly badly damaged. A couple units were destroyed, but that just happens. Here's some money again. And because we enabled more information, now we now see ultimately information. We can just flip that by doing this. Over here it says the stability of the planet and the buildings that we have placed here. I think you could just have a list of it all written out fully rather than all these abbreviations, because I think this matters that much. I don't have enough for a trade treaty. That would be kind of nice to get. Private economy is fine. I think our construction company also gives us some money, and it improves the build rate of stuff. And this will take some time to finish that going. I don't think there's anything else to do. And technically, I can go to any one of these places, I think. And land battle. This one I could potentially do. But not right now. My units are not there. And also my units are kind of damaged right now, so Let's order a few more recon tanks. We don't need that many. 4 more. Buy them. I don't have the means of producing them, so I have to buy them. Push the day forwards. Looks like everything set. Order our company over to there. I just do it right. Go. It's over. And we have random events, so yeah, that's annoying, but ultimately doesn't matter. Okay, so now it's here. Can we now do this mission? Can. A lot of dozer tanks, but dozer tanks are not particularly strong. I think we can do this. Auto resolve says it will be a victory. Right, this should be a more proper battle. That's also a sabotage. I don't have any spacecraft, so I can't bring them into the battle. Just do a battle. Hopefully we placed a little bit more fortunately, rather than having tanks appear in the middle of the ocean. Right, so here we are. You have to protect some vehicles, I believe. Fine. Apparently we need to escort them to there. We can do that. Radar planes are going up. I don't know what the enemy is exactly. Recon tanks should be able to handle that. They know where they're going. Yeah, but you have basically just this angle of land and a whole lot of nothing all around it. Would be kind of nice if units trained to the area where we are supposed to be fighting, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. And look at that, we flipped the tank. Just loves doing that. Probably try to run up this ramp. Still no sign of the enemy. I don't know where they spawned. They are up there. Be fine. There. Bleed. Easy money. I was hoping for a battle, but I guess we're just not get it. Alright, and that's just the basic gameplay loop that I think is envisioned in this. You just build up your planets, build up your armies. I can also demonstrate here, like for instance, I can upgrade the task force to be able to do more than what it's currently doing, because right now I think it's able to do there's 4 levels: planetary, system, FTL, and galaxy. Currently, I could upgrade it to galaxy FTL galaxy level for a certain amount of money. I don't want to do that, but essentially I can move about. Yeah. Right, so the point in continuing further forward with this. That all being said, of course, The main meat of this game, I believe, is in the vehicle designer. So if we just actually start the designer proper rather than the one in the mission, start over on this thing. A little tank. This tank, which I'll just affectionately call Tonk, is not a particularly great design. It's just a very basic thing. It's just so you have something here. We could always just go with new design. And then you get just a white brick. It has a length, a width, a height, and nothing else. It doesn't even have any method of propulsion, because the game doesn't know what you want. Let's just say we would like a tank, and it'll given tracks, with a few more wheels, and we give it a slightly different disposition. Now it has more wheels. And let's give it as a weapon. There. Nice, blocky weapon. But I kind of want a bigger weapon. Let's say that this thing needs some howitzer. 2 barrels. So now it's just saying what I don't have. That's fine. I can pick the basic kit. I'll stick with level 1 technology. Needs a command and control. Needs an engine. It needs fuel storage. It needs ammo, but we probably want to make it a little bit bigger, because we can have ammo of the various sizes. So I want probably make it 150 guns. So we'll need ammo storage X. Now, I also want this thing to be able to see stuff. It doesn't need a radar. It does need fire control, because howitzers are not particularly precise. Let's see. Don't need power necessarily. Some durability wouldn't be bad, so I'll give it some hull reinforcement. Other than that, I don't think it needs anything else. We could give it some sensors if we wanted to, but that requires giving it power, and for a low-level vehicle, I don't think we need to. Alright, so in order to make this gun, the guns on this thing bigger, we just need to make the size bigger. A little extra height. Let's really push the length to ridiculous levels. That looks a little bit too ridiculous. Go in the weapon setup. I want this to have at least double the range of a regular vehicle. Increase the barrel length. The range focus a little. It also needs to be accurate. Not very. It does reduce the amount of damage it can do per shot, but that's fine. Doesn't need to reload as fast as that. Use that a little. And miniaturizing, we do. Requires much more ammo. Let's just leave that at 0. A little tricky to get lighters to cooperate. Not now. Alright. We can tell it what the target is a distance. Let's make it anti-ground only. And for ammunition, let's just stick with high explosive, because we don't really need anything else. Howitzers. could make the volume bigger. Doesn't need to rotate that fast. Rest, I don't think change any routes. We will need some ammunition available, so just put that a little higher. And below here we can see the entire internal capacity of the vehicle. Currently it's not full yet, but it's getting there, which does have some impact, because for instance the engine is not good enough. Just up the overall quality of the engine, so it doesn't malfunction every time we move. And produce the fuel capacity, fuel efficiency, all the way to increase the amount of force in the engine. Still not enough. And this thing doesn't really need to back up very fast, so that with more force. Still not enough. Vehicle is not long, not big enough. Just make that a little bit bigger. Right, so that gives us a bit more room. And this engine can be a little bit bigger. Okay, now we have at least some speed. Let's copy this in. Now we have two engines, that should give us plenty of speed. This thing has almost no armor to address that, but first, now too heavy again, so make it lighter and slightly taller. Like this, the Apocalypse class. It's way too fast. Beat this engine. Size. Again. That should be sufficient. Okay. And now get the armor. Now we can select every bit of armor individually and give it something. Definitely want to make sure that it has enough at the front. Sides. And also some for the rear. The bottom and the top are fine, they don't have to be. I could also just tell the entire hull what's if I wanted particular armor. For now, this is fine. This does reduce our speed a little bit. We could fit around with technology which essentially increases the health we get per armor, reduces the weight, but for now, technology won't be fine. I don't want to mess with quality, because I don't know exactly what that does. Let's increase the engine size again. I don't want this thing to fill with molasses. Okay, 27 kilometers per hour, that's fine. Right, so now we have a decently sized howitzer tank. It's not particularly great. Let's make the guns a little bit bigger. I can get it up to 50. Yeah, that's close enough. And we could modify the style of the gun, the turret, if we want to. Yeah, that looks fine enough. But let's just go with this. I'll just save this design. Apocalypse. I mean, I would like to put the rockets on there, but it doesn't matter. Let's spawn an enemy. Now let's just spawn in a basic MBC 175. See how well this does. Now our range is the red circle, our vision is the green circle. I think we scored a direct hit. Yeah, I think it's dead. Okay, successful test. Let's try a slightly tougher target. It could go up against itself, but that's not. Okay, let's just pull out something nuts, like a cargo vessel. Now, despite the fact that this map is currently set to land vehicles, I can just spawn in a ship. And there it is. It consumes about 200 ammo points per shot. And it's decently accurate. Again, this vehicle is absurd. And let's move it about. This thing is not supposed to be fast. Yeah, the cannons are kinda trying to knock over the tank a little. But they might be a bit too powerful. That's fine though. Yeah, we're barely doing any damage to this thing. This vehicle has been my favorite punching bag to test out if something worked. This will just eat up any punishment I throw at it, and really you have to go through absurd lengths to put a real dent into the health pool. There, it's finally shooting back. Misses. But we are almost out of ammunition anyway, so fine. Okay, a little bit of splash damage. Here you can see the tank stats and turret stats, I believe. Well, there's information about propulsion levels and all that. Overall health of the tank. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Ammo left. Okay, and that's how you design a tank. Is this a good vehicle? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. It functions. I can easily blow up enemy tanks with this thing. Would it work in a campaign? Probably not. I mean, it might. It's not that expensive, and it uses a low-level tech. But, for instance, if we wanted to have a look at something a little bit more interesting to watch, something a vehicle that is properly designed. Now, keep in mind, this is not my design. This is a design that comes with the game, that I have copied into the save files. Because as I showcased, you can have advanced units and all that, and if you select the higher tier of tech, you get a basic destroyer, like this thing. Looks awesome. Got everything you want. An autogun, torpedoes, missile launchers, decoys, missiles, lasers, everything. If we test this one against the cargo vessel, one thing it will showcase that this game does not quite handle water physics as well as it should. Because while the basic destroyer over here functions fine, the cargo vessel spends most of the time just pretending it's a submarine. Which I'm thinking is kind of blunting the amount of damage that my weapons do, as they are designed to hit stuff above the water, not below it. And this thing does have torpedo launchers somewhere. I think it launched them all. Yeah, even this vessel, which is far superior to this in some ways, is no match. I think we will run out of ammunition before we can sink this thing. Turn broadside. We can have the lasers have a turn. Even the lasers do nothing. Although, to be fair, the lasers here are more designed as interceptors than as an actual combat weapon. That's all the fun we have with that. This designer is for the base vehicles, of course, and then we have the designer in space. This is where we get back to this particular rock fragment, and it still spawns in the same little tonk. Now, I had designed a little bit of a space vehicle. Prototype X. It's not a good space vehicle, but you know, it is what you can do with just base level text. You can design a space vehicle like this. If you wanted to showcase how bad it is, it cannot even defeat itself. Or at least it can. It depends a little bit on how lucky we are. Alright, there's a fire on board. The engine is destroyed. Ammo is destroyed. The ship is going down. There we go. Yeah, this is not a very well designed ship. Yeah, there is still some things about the vehicle designer that are a little bit opaque to me, but I just don't know how to work around that. Like, some of the components I just cannot figure out how to make them work well. I wasn't even designing this thing to be very efficient or anything. It's just I made. This is essentially just a tonk scaled up to become a spacecraft. But for instance, this thing has sensors, active sensors, via power. Now this thing has power in the form of batteries, but nowhere along these stats does it tell me how much power draw I have, or even how much power generation I have. Well, I have none on this particular thing, but you know, I could if I wanted to stick a fission reactor on this. I mean, it's not a great idea because even the smallest fission reactor does not fit on this thing. But, you know, I could scale this up to have it fit. But yeah, I had some fun puzzling around with some of the designs, and overall, I feel that the game is a little bit undercooked, and I've been talking about it for far too long as it is. So, my final verdict on this game for now is that it's not done yet. You can have some fun with it. It looks stable, so for me, as far as I have seen. Again, there will be a link in the description if you've managed to make it through all this. If you want to try it out for yourself, feel free to do so. However, I am quite done with this. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.